we only had so much time on your visa in Salvador. It was kind of a crapshoot. When you went to the border, they could give you as little as 30 days, or they could give you 90 days as a maximum. And you just never knew what you're going to get. So the solution we had for that was, you just stayed as long as your visa was, then go out of the country. We go down to Costa Rica, surf some waves down there, and then come back in the country, trying to, hope you're going to get more time. One of the things we used to do was come back. You didn't want to go during the week because you had all the regular guys, and they weren't sometimes that friendly. So you'd try and come in on a Sunday night when you had all the guys that get the real young guys, maybe 18 or so. They were new workers there, and they would stick them on the crappy shifts, and they didn't really know the routine. So you'd try to come in on, you'd have to pay more to come in on a weekend or a Sunday night, but you were more prone to get more days, and that kind of worked some of the time. So 90 days was your goal. That way you didn't have to get out of the country again. So, but Paul and I left and went down to Costa Rica, stayed there for a couple weeks, then back up to Salvador, and I surfed that. We just camped out at Punta Mango for the next month or so, and I had some great days there. No, there wasn't anybody else there, which is not the best thing. When I was young, I didn't care. I just wanted good waves. Now I'd much rather surf with a good friend. It just makes it so much more enjoyable. At the time, I really didn't. It wasn't my focus. This was the whole idea of this whole surf trip to Central America, was to find your own little point thing. And I can remember riding those waves, and they're, like I said, they're about shoulder high, and you could just go along, and it was so perfect. You could just take your hand and just cup it around the lip and just stand there and go right down the lip for like 200 yards. That sold me on that place, and then I ended up actually 2 or 3 years later buying a lot on that point, thinking I would retire there as a 65-year-old, whatever, retiree or something like that. But went back there for the next 5 or 6 years and surfed it by myself or with one other person, whoever I took with me, and surfed that place called Punta Mango for about 5 or 6 years. That was those were the most fun ones I ever had. And then I dug a well. It was the guy who dug the wells, his name was Guillermo, and I think you'll see those and all. But Lino was my kind of a good buddy, and we would talk about stuff as much as his English, or I guess it was more like how bad my Spanish was. I just had a hard time communicating. But and Lino's mom lived up around the Sulatan, and to get to the Sulatan, if you went by road, it's about an hour. You have to go down to Cuco and then back up almost to San Miguel and then back up to the Sulatan. But if Lino would go by horseback straight across the mountains, which was after 78, 79, 80, it got into that whole Civil War thing. That whole area was nothing but guerrilla stuff. You did not want to go. You did not want to go there. But at the time, you could ride through the, it's foothills or hills or mountains, whatever you want to call them. And Lino would go to his mom's house, and he would come back with mangoes and avocados and all that stuff. And this is a guy who he lived in a dirt floor grass hut shack and had nothing. He was leasing land to grow mycelium on. And Lino would come back and give me all this stuff. Great, generous people. It's amazing. A guy who has nothing was just